families who have no access to the internet is they simply don't have a device. So I would urge every member
between individuals. What steps are being taken to ensure
to get it to every community? Because if we're going to have a digital government, then we need to have a digital nation, and we can't have some people excluded from that future. That's why we've been able to announce £6 million in this financial year for the Innovation Fund, and I hope that local authorities will be coming forward with innovative ideas on how we can break down the barriers to digital inclusion.
Right, we're going to go to topicals, and we start with topical 1, Patrick Hurley.
Question number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the Department is determined to make the UK the best place in the world for science and technology. Last week, the Spending Review committed £86 billion to research and development, enabling every aspect of our tech economy to start firing on all cylinders. Building on that, we published the Digital and Technology Sector Plan as part of our modern industrial strategy on Monday, backing our innovators in fields like quantum, life sciences and engineering biology with over £1 billion.
Patrick Hurley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Across the northern part of my constituency, from Marshside over to Hesketh Bank.
Members aren't meant to go in front of another member. It's discourteous, and you deliberately looked and carried on. Patrick Hurley.
Across the northern part of my constituency, the mobile phone signal is uniform. Constituents are missing out on opportunities. So can I ask the Minister to work with rural mobile black spots like this to further the government's growth mission?
Minister.
I know this is an issue in his constituency because he's tabled at least 10 questions to me over the last week on this subject, all of which we've answered. MPs persuade the mobile companies across the country to invest more in getting better mobile coverage across the country, both in rural areas and in urban ones.
Dr. Ben Spencer, Shadow Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why is the government ignoring the advice of the AI Opportunity Action Plan to encourage the start-up and scaling of tech businesses in the UK and instead favouring market-dominant corporations from abroad over our own domestic businesses when awarding government contracts?
Not.
Daniel Francis.
To support the development, validation and uptake of alternative methods in scientific procedures, what steps will the Minister be taking to ensure that this includes specific commitments to phase out the use of dogs in scientific and regulatory procedures, replacing them with modern, human-specific technologies?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the government remains committed to ending the use of dogs and all animals in scientific procedures, replacing them with modern, human-relevant technologies. And our long-term goal is set out in our 2024 manifesto commitment, is to phase out animal testing entirely. And as the honourable members said, to achieve this, we will publish a detailed roadmap this year alongside convening roundtables with researchers, industry and animal welfare organisations to ensure we hit the target.
Speaker, my constituency of Eastleigh is home to 5 games developers. Does the Minister agree with me that the use of AI in video game development should not be allowed to push out human creativity? And what assurances can he give me that the government is not being complacent in its approach to AI?
We are completely and utterly not complacent. I know, and we are determined to make sure that creators other people's labour to a third party. I think of Cruise International, and I very much hope that as a former journalist, she would help. She's asked.
Mr. Speaker, it's very clear that Europe and the United States of America wants us to working closely with Europe on the regulation of AI. Can you tell us about what talks he's had about how we protect UK copyright in that context?
One of the issues that undoubtedly at the heart of this issue about AI and copyright is how you make sure that the policy we advocate in the UK is one that works with other countries around the world. I can assure her that we're working closely with our European allies to make sure that that is precisely what we do.
Sir Olney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Go for it.
In July 2024, the Secretary of State pledged to launch a consultation on the regulation of frontier AI systems shortly. However, recent reports suggest it won't be forthcoming until summer 2026, as leading AI companies have admitted. Would the Minister confirm why there has been a delay?
I'm afraid the Shadow Chancellor was coming in, who I've known for a very long time. I wouldn't cheer him quite so enthusiastically myself. As charming a man as he is. But it meant that I didn't hear the honourable member's question, so I'm very happy to write to her afterwards to confirm.
Mr. Speaker, Stratford and Bow is a thriving hub of innovation, which is why the Prime Minister chose it for the launch of the AI Opportunities Action Plan earlier this year. One brilliant example is Health Tech One. Once a kitchen table start-up of doctors and tech experts, they now automate admin for 22% of GP practices. Their new patient registration system has saved the NHS a staggering 183 years of time. What's the government doing to support homegrown innovation like this scale up their work?
I thank the honourable member for her question. Her constituency is indeed a hotbed for innovation. The honourable member will be delighted to know that Health Tech Care One has benefited from a range of government support today. This includes Innovate UK grant awarded to the company only recently.
We now come to questions to the Prime Minister. Mike Tapp.
Question number 1, please, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been asked to reply as my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, was attending the NATO summit in The Hague. At this time of international the tensions in the Middle East and to ensure the conflict does not intensify further. Our aim continues to be preventing Iran from securing nuclear weapon and to urge the Iranians to return to negotiations. Mr. Speaker, the situation in Gaza remains the gravest concern. Seeing the return of more hostages' bodies and that of Shay Leveson and the Israeli with British family is heartbreaking. The remaining hostages must be released, and while aid must be delivered at greater speed and volume. Mr. Speaker, this week is Armed Forces Week. Our commitment to armed forces is unwavering. The Strategic Defence Review outlines how we will give our armed forces their commitment, bravery and others. And in addition to my duties in the House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Mike Tapp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The party opposite gave up on law and order. They betrayed our country and let criminals run riot. Now they desperately post wannabe superhero videos, shamelessly pointing at the problems that they created. But last week, Mr. Speaker, they had the chance to put it right. And what did they do? They voted against tough action on knife crime, on antisocial behaviour and on violence against women and girls. Does the Deputy Prime Minister agree that they should hang their heads in shame for failing to protect our streets?
Order. Spoke to government responsibilities, not the opposition. Let's come to Mel Stride.
Mr. Speaker, opposite the Right Honourable Lady, despite what many may think, we have a great deal in common, not least that we both viscerally disagree with the Chancellor's tax policies. And it is great to see the Right Honourable Lady standing in temporarily for the Prime Minister for the second week running, although I know there are many sitting behind her who wish this was a permanent arrangement. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, you will find many of their names amongst the 122 who have signed up to oppose the government's welfare bill. They say that the bill is dangerously rushed and ill thought through. So can the Right Honourable Lady explain why she thinks that she is right and 122 of her own colleagues are wrong?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, first of all, Mr. Speaker, it's nice to face the latest wannabe at your dispatch box. I'll tell tell the right honourable member why we're pressing ahead with our reforms, and that is because we're investing £1 billion into tailored employment support, a right to try to help more people back into work, and ending reassessments for the most severely disabled who will never be able to work. Mr Speaker, we won't walk away and stand by and abandon millions of people trapped in the failing system, left behind by him and his colleagues.
Well, Mr Speaker, the right honourable lady completely sidestepped my question. She can't even defend her own government's policy. Can she at least assure the House that the vote on Tuesday will actually go ahead?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I don't know if he sort of listened to what I said because I was reading off the script, but what I can tell him, and I don't need the script, we will go ahead on Tuesday.
Well, there you have it, Mr Speaker. There will be a vote in this House on Tuesday on the welfare bill, although many on the back benches could be forgiven for thinking they've heard this before with the winter fuel payment, where they were marched up the hill, and we all know where that story ended. But, Mr Speaker, on this side of the House, we are absolutely clear. We will help her to get their bill through if they can commit to actually reducing the welfare bill and getting people off benefits and into work. Can the right honourable lady make that commitment right now?
Speaker, he demands a programme to help people into work, exactly what this bill does. After he left 1 in 8 young people out of the economy, he demands no new taxes from the party that raised taxes to record levels, and he demands further welfare savings, Mr Speaker, from the man who was in charge as the welfare bill absolutely ballooned.
The lady has clearly not read her own legislation. The bill will see the number of people on welfare rising for every single year going forward. There is no commitment from the right honourable lady to cut the number of people on welfare. And even if they manage to deliver these reforms, almost every respected economist now says tax rises are all but inevitable in the autumn. But after the budget, Mr Speaker, the Chancellor said, and I quote, "I'm not coming back for more taxes." Mr Speaker, British businesses have been hit again and again by Labour's economic mismanagement. They are desperate for certainty. So can the right honourable lady give them that certainty now and repeat to the House the Chancellor's promise not to raise taxes at the budget?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, this is a bit rich. Unbelievable! Inflation above 11%. The biggest tax rises by their party. I take no lectures. And on this issue in particular, Mr Speaker, they can't make their minds up. First they said our reforms were taking too long, then they say they were rushed, then their front bench said our measures were too tough, and now they say they need to be tougher. No plan, no idea. I wonder why their party was left in such a mess.
Mr Speaker, the whole House will have heard that the right honourable lady did not repeat the Chancellor's promise not to raise taxes. And Britain's businesses have today been put on notice. Tax rises are coming. Specifically, in her own area, despite Labour's promises to freeze council tax, the IFS says that the spending review will mean the biggest council tax increases in a generation, a £7 billion tax rise. And yet the Chancellor and the Prime Minister have repeatedly claimed that the government will not raise taxes on working people. So can I ask the right honourable lady, why doesn't she think that council tax is paid by working people?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Again, Mr Speaker, I think they've got an absolute nerve when council tax rose every single year. We've kept it there, Mr Speaker, while delivering money for taxes up and ruin the British economy.
More debt, fewer jobs, more pain for businesses right up and down our country. Borrowing up, unemployment up, inflation up. It's just, and neither are the public. In fact, Mr Speaker, I'm not even sure if the
Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I'm embarrassed every week that somebody comes here from their opposition who doesn't apologise for the mess they left this country in. There was one party that crashed the economy and left families paying the price. We're putting working people first, Mr Speaker. I'm proud. We've got a huge boost to the minimum wage, the biggest uplift to affordable housing in a generation, and expanding free school meals to 500,000 children. The Tories' choice, billions of pounds in unfunded tax cuts for the very wealthiest. We know where that gets us. It's the same old Tory failed approach. They haven't listened and they haven't learned a thing.
Mr Speaker, Prudhoe Community High School in my constituency was forced to relocate to Washington after their just over 8-year-old building, built under the previous government, was found to have cracks in the infrastructure. This incredibly distressing news has required huge resilience and strength from the local community. So will my right honourable friend join me in paying tribute to the staff, to the parents, and most importantly to the students of Prudhoe Community High School, and join me in commending them for their hard work and dedication during this incredibly destabilising time?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I will do, Mr Speaker, and I thank my honourable friend for bringing this important issue to my attention. I can only imagine the disruption and challenges facing the school community. One of the shameful legacies of the party opposite was to leave schools across our country literally crumbling. We're fixing that with
Liberal Democrat Stacey Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. May I start by associating myself and my party with the remarks of the Deputy Prime Minister in calling for de-escalation in the Middle East, for the release of hostages and for the urgent aid to get into Gaza. We Liberal Democrats are opposed to the government's cuts to personal independence, are still waiting for justice after the carers' allowance scandal saw thousands of innocent carers hounded for repayments. So can the Deputy Prime Minister give a cast-iron guarantee that if these cuts are pursued, that at the very least, not a single person will lose a penny until the carers' allowance scandal review has been completed and the recommendations?
Well, thank you for opening comments, Mr Speaker, and she knows that we've already been taking steps and those steps will continue on the carers' allowance. The welfare system are the party of work, but we're also the party of fairness. That's why our bill will deliver the largest permanent real terms increase to basic out-of-work support since the 1980s, invest in tailored employment support so that people can try work safely, Mr Speaker, and to ensure that those that can never work are properly supported.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's disappointing that the Deputy Prime Minister couldn't give that cast-iron guarantee, but if the government does pursue this bill next week, then we will pursue this matter on behalf of carers. Mr Speaker, given the reports that the government is giving a green light to President Trump's demands for a state visit, does the Deputy Prime Minister agree that the UK should urgently convene talks with the White House in advance of that state visit in order to leverage that state visit to secure US guarantees for Ukraine, including the use of frozen Russian assets, and to secure a joint UK-US message to Putin that together our two countries will not let Putin win his illegal war?
Well, I say, Mr Speaker, the UK government is always US counterparts. We're really pleased that the US President is coming for a second state visit, and we will continue to welcome in that vein and we'll continue to have those discussions.
Debbie Abraham.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In Oldham, there are 727 families currently living in temporary accommodation, 8,000 families on the waiting list. And this obviously has a devastating impact on particularly the children of these families. So will Deputy £39 billion that have been allocated to her department in the spending review to fix the housing crisis left by the government, the opposition. So families in Oldham, Saddleworth and wider can get their affordable homes that they need.
Well, my honourable friend is absolutely right, and as neighbouring MPs we know the impact on the temporary accommodation situation and children being homeless it has on their on their life chances. And my honourable friend is absolutely right to raise the issue and for highlighting the excellent work, Mr Speaker, of Dr Laura Neal, that we've confirmed the biggest boost to social and affordable housing investment in a generation. We're getting on with the job of the mess they left behind.
Gavin Roberts.
Very much, Mr Speaker, and can I identify my colleagues and I with the in the Middle East. The Deputy Prime Minister, I hope, will condemn recent disorder in the streets of Northern Ireland, as the Prime Minister and indeed my colleagues have. Does she accept that the Windsor framework, though sold to this House as an issue for trade, is fundamentally impacting the ability of this sovereign Parliament to legislate on a UK-wide basis on the matters of immigration? Will she
children should have a safe and secure home, and that's why I'm so proud that we've confirmed the biggest boost to social and affordable housing investment in a generation. We're getting on with the job of the mess they left behind.
Gavin Roberts.
Very much, Mr Speaker, and can I identify my colleagues and I with the comments around de-escalation in the Middle East. The Deputy Prime Minister, I hope, will condemn recent disorder in the streets of Northern Ireland, as the Prime Minister and indeed my colleagues have. Does she accept that the Windsor framework, though sold to this House as an issue for trade, is fundamentally impacting the ability of this UK-wide basis on the matters of immigration? Will she commit to ensure this government continues to robustly challenge against that expansionism that is currently before the courts? And if not, will she legislate to ensure that we as a country can control our own borders?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, first of all, Mr Speaker, I do condemn the violence on the street. Agreement referred to in article issues relating to Northern Ireland's past. I hope the Right Honourable Gentleman is assured that we're appealing a number of the law relating to Article 2 of the courts, including the Supreme Court, and I hope he will also be assured applied and enforced immigration law on a UK-wide basis, and the government will take all necessary steps to defend that position, just as we will remain committed to protecting rights across the whole of the UK, Mr Speaker, as it should be Parliament that makes rules on immigration.
Rebecca Longbell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Last night, Newsnight covered the Daily Mirror's 3-year investigation of the Newt blood scandal, in which thousands of troops had blood and urine monitored, even chest x-rays, during nuclear weapons tests, but the results were withheld from their medical records and their suffering denied for decades. So as a fierce supporter of these men and their families who she's met with me, will the Right Honourable Lady now of the essence? These elderly veterans deserve answers, justice and an apology.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, as my honourable friend said, Mr Speaker, I commend her for the campaigning work that she's done on this issue, and I have met with some of those affected, and I know the strength of feeling on this, and I've heard their deeply personal testimony and experiences. I pay tribute to all of the nuclear veterans and their enduring and we're looking into unresolved questions regarding medical records, Mr Speaker, as a matter of priority.
Ben Lake.
Mr Speaker, I should like to join the Deputy Prime Minister in thanking members of the Armed Forces community for their service. And Mr Speaker, I've had the privilege in recent months of meeting many veterans in my own constituency, some of whom still carry the trauma of war. Some, including amputees, have told me how repeat disability assessments are too often required of them in order to access financial support. And so does the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me that veterans with life-changing service-related injuries should be exempted from repeat disability assessments in future?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, again, that part of the reforms we want to do is ensure that those that can never work are properly supported and not put through this endless assessment. And I thank the Right Honourable Member for raising the case. We are committed to renewing the nation's contract with those that we serve, and a range of support is in place for veterans, including dedicated medical and physical health care, pathways in the NHS, employment and in housing. And the new support system, VALA, backed by £50 million of funding, will provide a network of support.
They're going to be under a lot of pressure. There's got not only just dead weight with the ships that are sitting there, but the live load, the transportation of the ships coming in. So, yeah, for us, a lot of pressure to make sure we're pouring the right concrete, we're hitting the programme, we're handing over obviously a good quality end product.
At the marine end, McLaughlin and Harvey's civil engineers built the all-important North Quay. Well, to the west of the hull, there was also another critical activity, the construction of thousands of burgers.
In this picture here, you can see HMS Cardiff. So if you can imagine 2 of these within this assembly hall being built. So it's going to be a very busy place going forward.
Key to the assembly hall are 2 gantry cranes and 2 Goliaths.
I'll start to travel 100 tonne an hour. The smart features we've got on these that we need to know about are tandem function, anti-collision. The technology on these, they are as good as we'll find out there. You see it's connected because we're getting cranes and Goliath cranes.
One of the objectives of the project was to build both the assembly hall and a Type 26 frigate simultaneously.
What was the critical thing for us was getting the build hall ready for Belfast going into